So we should move on to our next topic, and we will be discussing season 2, episode 7 of The Mandalorian, The Believer. So again, I will say there are spoilers in this section, so please feel free to turn us off and come back in about 15 or 20 minutes. But we are going to be talking in detail about this episode of The Mandalorian. So, gents, what do you reckon about The Mandalorian this week? What do you think?
Boom, boom, boom.
Well, Webb, do you want to give us a bit of a plot summary or what? Or do you want
I can't shut up since we started. Shall I give somebody else? You go, Lum. You go.
All right. So stop me if I get anything wrong. I'm just looking.
I'm just going to stop you there. I'm just going to stop you.
Such a twat.
So it starts off. We've got a junkyard, haven't we? Here we go. I've got some pictures.
Lovely junkyard.
You've got your man. Mayfield is working at the junkyard. This droid comes up. Pretty cool.
Played by Bill Burr.
Yeah.
Well,
now,
spoiler alert.
Yeah, Bill Burr. Yeah.
Spoiler.
What do we think of Boba Fett's clean armour?
That was cool, man.
You know what? I wanted a deleted scene where he's painting it.
Yeah, I just thought he's obviously so chuffed to get his armour back after all these years. The first thing he did was sat down and polished it all up. I think it's cool.
He's got have you seen his he's got this scarf on as well, if you look at the
and he's got a couple of new motifs. I don't know if you can tell. On the side is I can't remember the name of the species. On his arm, he's got a species that's always been there, but he's got a new one. And the new sigil, I can't remember what it means. Oh, this is going really well.
Chris, can you bring that picture up? It's actually on there. Chris, can you bring that picture up again? Because it actually looks like it's on there. It looks like a burger.
Yeah, that symbol though is a symbol. I can't remember what it's to do with. It's something to do with.
Is it a planet?
Go Google it, guys. It's really interesting. So much so that you'll read it and just instantly forget what the hell you want. But yeah,
Google it and comment and let us know.
Yeah, tell us what it is. Yeah.
So yeah, he's got his nice shiny armor. So yeah.
Right, keep talking. I'll put the images up. Keep going then.
So what we see Bill Burr's character in the sort of the planetary penitentiary sort of thing, where he's doing hard labor, and they come and break him out. What do we think of the breakout in this episode?
Pretty simple.
It wasn't really much.
I think that's one of the perks of being mates with somebody who's just been promoted to like sheriff.
She did make it sound like it was going to be a right task though in the previous episode. She's like, I don't know if I can do that. You know. Come on, guys.
What we actually should appreciate is they saved us the scenes where she's doing boatloads of paperwork, just trying to get this guy out.
Come on.
CPS reports.
False witness statements.
Jesus, sign this for us, Mando.
So yeah, they come to get Bill Burr back because just if you cast your mind back to season 1, around about episode 6, where I think it's called The Prisoner. Is it The Prisoner, that one? Where Mando has to go and meet a bunch of crazy rebels, rebellious people to go break into a prison ship to get somebody else out. And Bill Burr is one of the characters that he works with in that episode. And during that episode, Bill Burr lets them know that he used to work for the Empire. He was an Imperial. So he's got all this insider knowledge. So they're going to spring him out of prison to get the codes. Get some codes. He's got codes, so he can get the codes.
They're multiplying. What do we think about his part in this? Well, I suppose we're going to get onto that in a minute, but it would be nice to discuss about his part. Okay, generally, yeah. What do we think of the way Bill Burr's playing this character? What do we think?
I liked it, man. I really liked it. Especially liked it when he's putting that stormtrooper outfit on. He's sitting on the side of the thing and he's going, God, this guy stinks. Yeah. His gloves are still wet. I thought it was pretty cool, man. Yeah. I thought, because he's a comedian and not primarily known as an actor, I thought he was really natural.
Do we think that they purposely wrote funny lines for him? Because
I think he's the kind of dude that shows up and he's funny.
I think they wrote it. The good thing about it, though, it's not really cheesy, because some jokes sometimes in the Star Wars stuff, you do think, oh, come on. Like, I'm thinking of episode 8 with the mama jokes at the start of the film.
Oh yeah, when he's putting them on hold. It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Oh.
your mother. Yeah, that's great.
You thought that
Yeah,
was
they
good.
have a habit of being quite unfunny. I mean, my favourite joke, I don't even know if it's supposed to be a joke, is in The Last Jedi again, where Luke Skywalker squeezed the booby of the sea cow and he gets the milk and he like looks at the camera and he's
Winks.
like, what am I doing here? I waited 30 years for this shit. It's brilliant. And he just gives the camera this look like, yeah, you fucking saw this. This is really happening. It's great. But yeah,
So-
Well, go on.
I think he fits really well. I think he's a good
I like him. I like Bill Burr's stand-up as well, I've got to say. So
yeah. I
So
mean,
they rescue him from the prison planet, and
Yeah.
and then what happens?
well, yeah, it's mission time, innit? Go on a mission
yeah,
again.
and for the first time ever, we get to see the inside of Boba Fett's ship.
Oh yeah, and it all turns round and stuff, doesn't it?
Slave One.
Yeah.
It was nice to see Slave One. Although it did, I was saying in our chat earlier on, it's for the first time, it's just occurred to me how much Slave One. And don't get me wrong, I know it's going to offend some people out there. I love Slave One. It's an amazing ship. It looks brilliant. Look what it can do, but it does look a bit like a travel iron.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Excuse me.
I
Yeah,
think George Lucas looked around in for inspiration around his house and went, "I love that. Love this."
It's that trouser press spaceship that comes in the next episode. So we see the inside of Slave One in episode 7 of the
and the
Mandalorian,
inside of
and-
Slave One, it all turns round like a gyroscope. It's brilliant. Brilliant that bit. I thought,
It'd
wow.
be going to be funny if when it was turning around, they were all just going like,
Whoa!
I got strong Guardians of the Galaxy kind of sort of themes within this. Just seeing all this sort of this band of very, very different kind of heroes, anti-heroes going off to do this mission. It had sort of a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe about it for me.
There was sort of hinting, weren't there, that Mayfield was going to get together with Cara June because of the way they sort of speak into it. They don't like each other. They don't get on very well. But by the end of the show, he earns a respect by nailing that amazing sniper shot.
Yeah,
and we're skipping ahead a little bit, but then she's like, "Ooh, actually, yeah, I could shag that guy. He can shoot stuff." I'm thinking, what? It's a bit weird. I found it a bit weird, but yeah,
I was amazed to put that line in as well. What you just said, I just wasn't expecting that.
What the shag that guy?
Yeah, I shag that guy. I'm like, whoa, edgy, subverting our expectations there with that.
But this is it. This is what we're saying.
So where is it that they go to? They
go to here. They go to Green Planet
Island.
I didn't get the. Go to Ireland.
Called Morag, isn't it?
All
Was
right.
it Morag?
I don't know.
I think it was Morag.
I thought that was the name of Morag. What's Morag? There's a character called Morag in something.
Isn't it a witch or something like that?
I think that is in Willow. Back to Willow with that vast knowledge I have. I think she's called Morag in Willow.
How weird! It all comes full circle. Oh.
As I said in our disclaimer at the start of the episode, we have varying degrees of knowledge about the world.
We didn't claim this was an expert show because God, who wants to be an expert at this sort of thing?
Say that, Webber. You're doing pretty well with all the facts and figures tonight.
I didn't want to correct you that it's Slave 2, not Slave 1, but
is it Slave 2?
Yeah, it is. Slave 1 is Django Fett's ship, isn't it?
No.
Is that not right?
Oh.
What am I talking about?
Same ship, different pilot.
Slave 1 is Boba.
The same ships.
The same ship.
And the reason you know it's the same ship, again, there's something happens right at the end, and you know that's why it's the same ship, because something happens.
No, I knew it was Boba Fett's ship, but I understood that Django Fett had a different ship to Boba Fett, and Boba Fett created his whole image in the image of his dad, including the ship.
No, because you know that seismic sort of mind bomb that he drops at the end, which was fucking cool, and that sound effect is amazing. It's a throwback to when Django Fett did exactly the same thing in the.
You jumped ahead, but I've got a picture of that.
We are. It's first show, guys. It's gonna be
nice picture there. I grabbed that.
It's good. Yeah.
They have to go to the planet. They have to do another. Let's sneak into a building and do something sneaky and sneak around a bit. Now, this is where I wasn't going to be all right. let's point out all the shit things about it, because so far for me, Mandalorian has been on a roll, and there really aren't many to pick from. But in this one,
this
if
episode,
you
there
are
are a few.
wanted by the Imperials and you used to be an Imperial, why the fuck are you taking your helmet off and just walking in there? Nobody else apart from officers in that whole building has got their helmet off.
I'll tell you
He's a-
why.
he's
It's
a
because
wanted
those helmets have such. I mean, we need to talk about this because those helmets have such a short field of vision. I mean, it's like 20 degrees. That's it. You can't see.
But that doesn't mean take it off, because you're more likely to be spotted if you're the only person in the building without his helmet on and you're the only criminal. Like, I just didn't get that bit, and it was a bit weird.
It was a bit weird when he got out of the. I kind of thought it doesn't matter in the transport, does it? But when he got out, I was like,
put it back on, dickhead.
Yeah, you put that back on.
I'm gonna spot you.
Did anyone else? I know it's probably just me, because it was very late when I watched this last night. When he's talking to Mando, and Mando's just sat in the armor still. Did anyone else think that armor's empty? And he just thinks he's going in. He thinks he's being watched by one of us guys.
Well, who knows? I heard a little rumor that Pedro Pascal, who plays the Mandalorian, allegedly walked off set in the middle of filming this. And the way I read the story, and then I translated it into what I think happened. And he went on the set and he said, "Hey, I think I should take my helmet off more this series." And they were like, "No. Don't be daft. We've got a plan already. Like, we're not just going to take your helmet off willy-nilly." It's like, no, I must insist. I'm like, look, all right, I didn't want to have to tell you this, but around about episode 7, you're going to get a chance to take your helmet off. But that's not what this show is. It's not Mr. Take His Helmet Off guy. It's Mando. Yeah. So apparently he spat his dummy out and walked off the set, and they had to film it with some guy in his armor. So when he took his helmet off, I was like, oh, maybe that's not actually true, because it is the same dude. But Lummy, did you hear that as well?
Yeah, there's been loads of people saying about that. But yeah, I was surprised when he took helmet off. I was like, I've got a picture of him taking spoilers, obviously.
Yeah, and then that a beautifully cut mustache to say he's had an helmet on for how many years.
Well, he can shove it up. He can take his thing up to drink soup.
Yeah, lift the crisp with his helmet, get some trimmers up there.
Maybe he had Baby Yoda. Sorry, Grogu, doing it.
That is a name I cannot get on board with still. But anyway, that's another conversation. So,
hey, they were brave in this episode because he wasn't in it.
Well, it's the only episode where there's been no baby. Yeah. I'm going to say Baby Yoda because I'm finding Grogu.
But that's to make us all pine for him even more next week when we get the finale and they've got to go rescue him. So that's we'll talk about the episode.
Let's come back a little bit. So that's
why they need Bill Burr's character, because Bill Burr can get them access to the Imperial coordinates of the vessel that has got Grogu on it. So just to round it out, that's not too spoilery, I don't think.
No, that's totally fine.
And I think that it's clearly setting up for a big... I wouldn't be surprised if next week Mando flies around the galaxy picking up more people that he's met on his way so he can go...
Let's do that. Let's
talk about that later. So basically, so they've got to... Is it Morag, the Green Planet, and they have hatched a plan. They are working out who is going to go in with Mayfield because they don't want him to go in by himself. And they all discuss reasons why they can't get in. And Boba Fett's got quite a funny line in this one, actually. It's where he's like, "Oh no, they'd recognise my face," and I think that was another nod to all the fans of the series. And so Mando decides he's going to go in. Mayfield does say, "Nah, I'm not going in with you. I'll go in by myself." Do you think he's got honourable intentions at that point, or do you think he was going to pull a sly one?
I think he's
going to go in by himself.
Honourable if he goes himself, because he don't like the Empire, does he anymore? He makes that clear later, doesn't he?
It does.
So Mando goes in with him, and they find themselves in the officers' mess where they need to go and access a computer terminal to be able to find.
Just before that, they have a battle, don't they?
Of course they do. Now, this for me, and it's quite topical that you're wearing that hat, Lummy. This for me just felt like something straight out of an Indiana Jones film. I half expected a rhino's tusk to come out of the roof of the car.
But that's the point. This show nods at everything it wants. I mean, episode 2 of this season, they were nodding at aliens every 2 minutes. There was aliens popping out of eggs, big queen aliens. It were great. Even the what's the bit with where Grogu was eating the egg.
Well, one the guy out of Alien in it in one of the episodes.
Yeah, had Michael Biehn in it, didn't it?
Yeah, in the Ahsoka episode.
Yeah. So there's all sorts of nods to this and that. And I spotted that Indiana Jones great train ride thing as well, and I thought I thought, why not? You know, it looks cool.
Well, season 1 where they had the Jawa sandcrawler, he hanging off there. That was like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that was exactly like the tank bit, wasn't it, where it gets smooshed against.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. So they decide what they're going to do is in order to, because they're all worried about their faces being seen, they decide that they are going to basically beat up a couple of stormtroopers and steal their outfits. Now, this for me is one of the issues that I do have with Star Wars in general. What the hell is the point in Stormtrooper armor? She gets in, she drops down, and she gets both of them. They're wearing helmets, and she smashes their head on the steering wheels, and they're both knocked unconscious. What is the point in those? What is the point in the helmets? It's like the worst armor in the world. In the
previous episode as well, where Boba Fett were knocking the hell out of a bunch of stormtroopers with his stick, and their bits were just smashing to pieces. You're right. Yeah. It's not only that. They can't move in
players in it.
They can't move in the outfits, and they can't see in the helmets.
It's the worst designed armor ever.
It's like that is a really, really good. Considering the Empire are the people who like handed out those uniforms, maybe it's just an evil thing. Like, you know, it's gonna make your life difficult because I'm the Emperor. I could give you like full panoramic vision if I wanted, but fuck that. Here you go.
Yeah,
tiny space, and that's why they can't shoot straight.
Give them the terrible armor.
Yeah, look at my space magic.
Are you sure, my master? We could give them the better stuff. No, save it. We're saving money for Star Destroyers.
Oh my God, you really are evil.
Yes, the costuming is going exactly as I planned.
Penny pinching it.
How much is this Death Star costing? Jesus.
Do we really need that entire floor that's just full of jacuzzis on Death Star? No, we need that. We definitely need that.
Yeah. Can't we just fire the trash into space instead of having the trash compactor?
No.
No, because it's an integral plot line.
Yeah.
I want to ask a question about this. It's a bit unrelated, but since we're talking about stormtroopers and like what goes on with them, do space guns, blasters? This is going to sound like somebody who knows nothing about Star Wars, but just the blasters, do they have
space guns?
Do they have bullets? Do they run out of bullets?
So tonight you actually saw that, and I think for the first time in a Star Wars story where a blaster ran out of ammo, and again it was very much it was very much out of Indiana Jones. He's stood there and he's shooting away, and he's like, okay, I'm going to punch him in the face instead.
Yeah, I think it might be like a charge pack, you get so many,
like a battery. Yeah.
That might be inconvenient in the middle of a battle. Oh bollocks! Hang on, I'm just going to charge. Plug it in. Anybody got a charger?
USB.
Oh, it's a Samsung. Damn it!
No, it's a mini USB. Different fitting. Emperor.
Well, that's. I mean, throwing back to an old film that made no sense. Independence Day, where they plug into the alien ship with the laptop.
Oh yeah.
Creates all them kind of problems.
I use a Mac and I can't even transfer. If you sent me a Word document from PC, it takes me 15 minutes to transfer. It doesn't make any sense. It's just ridiculous.
So basically, they hijack a mining vehicle that's transporting really volatile kind of explosives. What's it called again? Is it Iridium? That's it. Which again, Iridium. I think it's in the Clone Wars again.
Iridium.
I think they have used it before in previous Star Wars storylines, and it's really, really volatile. It's like a reverse episode of Speed.
Everything in Star Wars, this is my argument. Everything in Star Wars.
We've got a comment about the lasers here. Nice thing about armor for lasers is quite light. Yeah.
I like the fact that Dan, you've changed you've put your full name and you've put a little image up there as well.
Because he swapped. They were on Twitch before. He's on YouTube.
Look at you.
Swapped across.
Down with the kids.
So, I mean, I don't want to literally tell everybody everything that happens in Mando episode, whatever it was, 7, 15, 7, something like that.
Yeah.
But I do want to say that for me, every episode this season has been absolutely brilliant. Number 2 is a little bit slow, but still good. For me, this episode was there was something imperfect about it compared to everything else they've done so far. I'm not sure what it is that was bugging me really about it, other than it just didn't. I don't know, didn't sit right with me as much as the others did. But I think again, it's like, oh, let's go into the place and do the thing, and like, you know, there's a lot of that going on in this series. But
I don't think it was a filler. I think it was more of a setting up for the final episode. It was more of a kind of...
So that's what I was going to say. Moving on from this episode, which
whoa. We've got to finish off talking about this one before we talk about the next one.
What else have we got to talk about?
We've got to finish.
We're not even halfway through it. So they get a load of space pirates come and try to blow up the and he has this fight on the back of it, which is another nice thing because it's the first time he's fought without his own armor. So you see him getting hurt by actually what would normally be quite a minor blow for him. So
I mean, it might have been a better scene if he'd have stood on top of the tanker, right, and gone to press his button to fire all them little explosive darts out and kill everybody, and he taps the button on his arm and his armor just falls off. His armor. No shit, that's the release button.
Yeah. It's not Carry On Mandalorian. I didn't expect that to happen.
Oh, blimey, I can't believe that.
Pilots are trying to blow up all of these tanks, and they start seeing all these explosions in the distance. And
what I like about the pirates, right, is the fact that they sent one little ship. There's a little ship with like 6 pirates on. 3 pirates jump off, have a fight with Mando. He blows that ship thing up, the skiff, shall we call it?
Yeah.
But there's another skiff. It's like a revolving door of skiffs. So he blows 2 up, another 3. You're like, what? Why didn't you all just attack him at once, you bellends? You probably would have won. Like, no, we'll wait back. We'll hang back until you're totally blown up, and then we'll bring the next squad. I just thought that was a bit silly. But
that happens in everything, though. That happens in everything.
I know.
Yeah. And Mando Mayfield are the only people to be able to get their shipment back to the Imperial sort of mining base.
Yeah, that's right. They get back there, and that was good. It was seeing the Imperials like. Excuse me.
And some of the troopers from Rogue One in there as well, the shore troopers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, a few stormtroopers knocking about and as they pull into the place, everybody's saluting them and going crazy and like, yeah, you guys did it. So they have to play along with it. It was quite funny.
The other thing is that we probably forgot to mention, which I personally think might be integral to the future episodes, is we also see really hostile looking indigenous people of the planet who are giving them all dirty looks. And Mayfield says, well, what do you expect? The rebels kind of let them down, allowed human slavery, and then the Imperials came along and took advantage of that situation. So, that is kind of poignant as well for what happens later on in this episode, because we see Mayfield and Mando split off away from the sort of celebrations, and they see this terminal in like an officer's mess hall, and they have to...
Here we go.
That's right.
And the officer as well that he was talking to. That was a really great scene because for a little while he's sort of hanging back, isn't he? While this guy blathers on about being evil and how people deserve it. And then he loses his shit with him and shoots him, which is, again, a callback to New Hope, wasn't it? With Greedo and Han Solo. Just shoots him. Like, pretty cool. Yeah. But the guy who's playing the officer is a really good bad guy that you might not recognize. He's the guy who played Joe Chill in Batman.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and he plays a good bad guy. He's in a couple of other things as well. I can't remember exactly what he's in, but it was really cool because he had a kind of a Western approach. Usually all the bad guys are British, aren't they? They're like, oh, yes, you are going to die now. But this guy was like all Western. He was like, yeah, I can't do the accent. I don't know what that was. It sounded like Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg's not in this one. Spoiler alert.
He is in the next one, though.
Yeah.
So yeah, and all of the officers, all the Imperial officers, they all seem to have like real ratty sort of faces. And this guy, it looked like a rat in human form. It was brilliant casting.
It would look like, it did look like the kind of face you've got where you're never going to get the leading man role. It's always going to be like, yeah, but I want you to play the bad guy. It's like, yeah, but I've been practicing really hard at being, doing my hero line and stuff.
I've been practicing.
I played Romeo in Stratford.
So they get to the Imperial place. They go use the computer. Mayfield bottles it.
Yeah.
Mayfield bottles it because he sees the officer. He thinks, I'm going to get recognised here. This is a bad idea. And they're like, oh, what are we going to do now? So Mando, for the second time in the episode, takes his helmet off again, goes completely naked face, just like that. Naked face. And he goes and uses the computer himself. He tries it with his helmet on. It can't see him. So he takes his helmet off. And lo and behold, inexplicably, this Imperial face detecting machine says he's all right, even though it's got no record of him. Nobody's ever seen his face. But he's like, yeah, you're all right. Take whatever information you want. You want some Death Star plans? They're on page 2. We've got the location of Baby Yoda here. If you want anything else you want to know.
Collect your dodgy armour from Bay 3.
Did he have some links? Did he have some ties to the Empire previously, though, or not? I can't remember.
Mando.
So that's what I was going to ask. What does that mean? Because obviously it's something that's significant to the storyline. They're not just going to put it in there because it's just an unanswered question.
I thought it was like some kind of cafeteria at first. That was like the espresso machine at end, and they were just one of them. Now we'll go to archive room, but it was just there, wasn't it? In the middle of. But it is in the dining room.
Like, take your helmet off every time you wanted a cappuccino, though.
Yeah. And
yeah.
That was the code to speak to the main guy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you think, why is that in the canteen? Why is it there?
I've no idea. So he uses the machine, but while he's using it, Officer Fuckface, whatever it's called,
he is listed as Officer. That is his name, Officer Fuckface.
On IMDb.
Hey, what are you doing? He goes, hey, you over there. And Mando, because he doesn't speak Empire, he doesn't know how to talk to these officers. He just stands there like a wet lettuce. And then Mayfield comes over, says, oh, he's a bit deaf. He's had some pressurization. He's deaf. And you're like, all right. And then this was what killed me, was the line from, did you get this? From Office Space, where he goes, oh, come on, let's go file them TPS reports. I was like, TPS reports? I know what that's from. What's it from? I had a little Google. It's from Office Space. If you remember Office Space, the thing about the guy who's totally sick of working in an office, he gets hypnotized, and then you just don't give a shit about his job anymore, and it's just total relief for him, and he starts living his life. But in the film, he's got this boss, and the boss keeps coming over and says, "You didn't file your TPS reports." So they've taken stuff from all over the place. It really is just picking from wherever they want, which I quite like. It's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and he also calls him Brown Eyes.
Yeah. So we just call him Brown Eyes. Weird. So that's not the first name. The first name that will come to my mind, be like, John, yeah, it's John. It's called John. This guy, but he's like, I can't think of names. Brown Eyes. Brown Eyes.
Oberyn Martell. I mean, so the officer forces them to go and have a drink with him, and it's this quite tense situation where they're sat around the table, and then the officer starts talking about what operation was it? It was. He starts talking about the Imperial operation. I can't remember what it was called.
Operation Cinder, and I think that's from the Battlefront 2 game. The single player.
It is from Battlefront 2. Yeah.
And it just so happens that your man Mayfield was in battle. It was in that battle, and he saw all his mates die, and he knows that this officer is the guy who fucking set these people up and didn't help them. 5,000 to 10,000 people died. He watched all his mates die. So as he's talking to him over the table, you can see the resentment building up, and you're thinking, I hope he shoots this guy, and then he does.
Yeah, actually, Operation Cinder wasn't it where they blasted a load of planets and forced all of the weather to change on a load of planets and to destroy a load of places. And on one of the planets were a load of Imperial troops, and they just didn't give a shit, and they just blew up all the right people. And Mayfield was in one of those troops die and things like that.
So the upshot of that is they have the big conversation. He finally gets his revenge against the guy who killed all his mates, but he just shot an officer in the middle of the fucking Imperial kitchen. That's all. And there are literally thousands of stormtroopers and officers all over. So it's like, boom, boom, shoots them all. Luckily, they keep running into the room with no guns and just get shot one at a time. It's a good job. They kicked the window out and jumped out behind them. Otherwise, it'd have just been a pile of dead bodies.
No, there was a bit in this that it was one of those little bits that kind of bugged me. So can you bring that picture up again, Chris? Is that right? So it was through these sort of slats, it's like the world's biggest blinds. And there's somebody in a few frames on one of the troopers has got his arm underneath one of the blinds and he's trying to blast them, but they're really high up. You just grab them by the ankle, wouldn't you? And just trip them up or something like that.
You know what? I mean, it wasn't perfect, but it was still cool and it's very Star Warsy. I just thought I wouldn't have jumped out the window. I'd have just kept shooting them as they were running in one by one.
It seems to be working.
As we know,
the entire empire one by one.
As we know, your lasers are going to run out, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Once bitten.
So yeah, they jump out the window. Big escape. Boba Fett flies in. They jump on the ship.
The ladies are there sniping people to help them escape.
I do like that
another
shot.
bit. Just going back a little bit. Sorry, just to jump backwards. When they got to the Imperial place with the Iridium, 2 TIE fighters flew out of nowhere and you're cheering for the TIE fighters. You're like, yes! 2 TIE fighters fly down and help them out in battle, and that's how they get inside.
Yeah, that's
I was like, yeah, man. That's what I found interesting about this one, is it made you see the human side of the Empire for a change. So when they're getting in and everybody's celebrating, you're like, oh, they're just people. They're just people.
I mean, that is one of the things about this episode, although it is not a filler, but just more like a setting up episode. A lot of information does come out. So it does talk a lot about the sort of conundrum between the Empire and the Rebel Alliance in that actually none of them have done a very good job when it comes to everyday people. You know, it's an imperfect sort of situation anyway.
But what the officer is saying as well about how people they think they want freedom, but they want to be controlled.
Yeah,
that's what they really want. So that's why they need the Empire. But then he used the term something about the order. What did he say about it? He said they need order, and you're thinking, oh, first order, and it sort of links into that next band of what the Empire is going to turn itself into and stuff.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it was great. Boba Fett swoops in at the end. There's a bit of TIE fighter action. He saves them too. Meanwhile, the 2 ladies are sniping these stormtroopers on the top of the building to help them get away. They jump on board Slave 1, 2, whatever you want to call it. I'm calling
Slave 1. It's Slave 1. It's Slave 1 because we can talk about that now, because that exact weapon is the one that Jango Fett used in his ship in Slave 1. So it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah. I know that, but that doesn't dispel the logic that I thought I was working under, because if you'd have recreated your father's ship, it would have the same stuff on it. So do you know what I mean? I'm just a bit confused about it. Doesn't matter.
Isn't it not his father's ship?
I think it is. That's what you guys were saying. Yeah, I didn't think that. I thought he just rebuilt himself in Jango Fett's image.
So what do we think then? So Mando, and I know other people, it's what I thought, but I know other commentators have actually made this comparison, where Mando slaps down what I can only call a wrestling promo. Tell her, I'm going to get you. That baby Yoda means so much to me.
That straight callback to the end of season 1, where Moff Gideon gives him the exact same speech.
Yeah,
and he said, and as I was watching it, I'm thinking he's just using his words against him. So I quite liked that, because it really pissed Moff Gideon off, didn't it?
Yeah,
it got to him, and
it also told him that they were coming for him.
Yeah, it did. And also, look how far we've come. So you might think we're no threat to you at all because you're surrounded by stormtroopers on a massive ship, but we can get to you. And I think, the arrogance of the Empire to stand there and say, nah, you're not going to catch me.
Just before that, obviously, you had this bit, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Waving everybody off. So, yeah, they decide to let Mayfield go. She was supposed to take him back into custody after, but because he did that amazing sniper shot right at the end on Boba Fett's ship, he goes to Mando, pass me that gun, and he passes him the gun, and he shoots a thing of Ridium, and it blows the entire thing up. He gets his vengeance on the Empire. He does a massive favor for the good guys and redeems himself. So I thought that were fair enough.
And then they let him wander off with no weapon or any food or water into the jungle. I expected like this thing then to fly off, and then the camera to come back to him. He turns around and this monster just eats him. And it's just,
I honestly thought that he was just going to jump on the ship with him and be part of the crew that goes to take down Moff Gideon next week, which makes sense because he's pretty good at what he does. It's all about his arc of redeeming himself.
Yeah,
it made sense. I didn't get that.
I was wondering actually whether he is going to be like a leader for the people of that planet, and he's going to do some good for the planet, for those people.
He's probably got
give him a shot. Give him another shot. Give him a shot. Let's have it. Mayfield.
Yeah.
Star Wars Mayfield.
Yeah, go for it. Why not?
Okay, so, everybody gets a show. It's like Oprah. Everybody gets a show.
Can I just bring up that, I think we should put a pin in Mando for now. So we've got other stuff to talk about, and we've still got.
Well, first of all, though, can we predict what we think is going to happen next week?
Yes. So what's
we can.
Gentlemen, how do you think the last episode in season 2 is going to finish? Do we think they are going to get Grogon back?
I'm not sure about all that, but what I feel is definitely going to happen, in my eyes, I might be wrong, but that's what it's all about, is that Mando will inherit Slave 2 when Boba Fett gets killed by the Dark Saber.
Slave 1.
Oh, fuck off. Slave 1.
When did they rename it? It's always been Slave 1. I have no idea
where I've got Slave 2 from. I don't know.
I like the fact that you corrected me on it as well. He was like, actually, I didn't want to tell you, but it's Slave 2.
I'm sure it was, but I'm not honestly. I'm waiting for somebody to comment, but there's only 3 fucking people watching, so
there's quite a few people watching.
Okay, so I think that
you're not alone, viewers. You're not alone, viewers. You're not alone.
Right, correct me if I'm wrong, Lummy. One of the things that they said was going to be a possible spin-off, which hasn't been announced, was Boba Fett.
Yes.
Boba Fett is going to die. He's going to end up giving Slave 1 to Mando. It's going to be Mando's ship. And I reckon somebody's going to get killed with the Darksaber, because you've got to see that thing in action. Why is it so good? What's it all about? So that's what I don't know. That's what I thought. And I also think that at some point Luke is coming back.
That sounds like a real waste of clean.
Yeah, right.
Armour.
They wouldn't have spent all this time bringing Boba Fett back.
Of course they would.
Kill him. No, they won't.
Dude. Did you not see Force Awakens?
Yeah, they're not going to do it.
To your favourite fucking character, dude?
No, but he wanted to die. They're not going to bring a character back.
Oh, yeah. They're going to. All right, so that's what happened, right? So I write a script. You go, you're not going to kill me off in it, are you?
No, I'm on about the character. I'm not on about actors or anything. I'm on about the character. They've took all this care to bring Boba Fett back, or Boba Fett, however you say it, Boba. Some people call him Boba. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
they're not gonna bring him back into this series just to go. By the way, we're going to kill him at the end.
Well,
Guarantee it.
Next week, won't we?
So what do you think is going to? So Chris, what do you think is going to happen next week?
Right, I think they're going to bring. There's been all these rumors about this Sebastian Stan, is it?
Yeah.
Playing Luke Skywalker. There's been these rumors about it. I think they're going to pull a Force Awakens, and they're going to have Luke Skywalker at the end of the next episode, at the end of it, and he's either going to say one word or nothing. He's just going to come in because Baby Yoda or Grogu, whatever you want to call it, he sent his signal out, didn't he? And we didn't see the results of that. They've got to tie that up, and they'll have to do a cliffhanger.
Yeah, fully agree.
They've got to do a cliffhanger at the end of the next thing to get you ready for season 3. That's just from a filmmaking thing, isn't it?
Now, the only reason I think that might not be a thing is because I don't know if they're ready for that yet. But I'm hearing so much about it that I think it's possibly true.
Oh, they've done it. I mean, look at Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka.
Yeah.
You know, there were loads of rumors going around, and then she's in the
all
episode.
of a sudden it happened, yeah.
You know,
so I think there's a lot of weight to these rumors. There is a lot of weight, especially when it's from Star Wars fans that do the research and are doing all these deep hacking things and stuff.
I mean, it'd be better if it wasn't all out there already, but that's what the times we're living in, where all this stuff.
Part of my prediction was you did hear me say, didn't you, that I think Luke is coming back at some point. Because we were talking about it a while ago, Lummy, and we were saying, who could it be? And the only Jedis really left at this point in the canon, there aren't many. So it's either because somebody you don't give a shit about, or Luke, or they're going to bring somebody back from the dead and throw that at you, like Mace Windu's going to pop up.
They were on about Mace Windu as well, but I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Although, having said that, Samuel Jackson is doing
Sam Jackson. Yeah,
he's doing Marvel TV shows as well. Sam Jackson is signed on.
Yeah.
So they might have got a deal. They might have got a deal with him.
I
think it's because they've realised that they don't have to drop people's wages to put them in a TV show. So all these actors are like that. Bring it on. You know what I mean? But yeah, what's your predictions, Gittins?
Well, I should just correct myself because I'm aware that I just referred to Baby Yoda as Grogon a few moments ago, but I just can't. Grogu, it's just such a weird name.
Yeah, but you're talking about a world of stupid names. So to say Yoda's more plausible than Yoda, you've heard of Yoda for nearly 40 years.
Totally. I just think Grogon sounds like quite a cliched creature name. Anyway, I don't think they're going to. Grogu.
They should have called him Yoga, like in Spaceballs. That'd have been great.
Yeah, I think Grogu also sounds like
into the Mando. That'd be pretty amazing.
But I don't think they are going to get Grogu back. I think that is going to be the cliffhanger for leading into season 3, which apparently isn't coming until December 2021. Is
about right. To be fair. But they found a way of making this really, really high quality and really, really quickly. The turnaround for this is unbelievable compared to most other things. Like, you've got to remember this. We were just, when did season 1 finish? Was it last Christmas time?
But that's why I was surprised it's not.
It's been less than a year since.
That's why I'm surprised season 3
came out in America before over here, though, didn't it? Before in UK.
I saw it straight away. I won't say how.